Overthinking will ruin your peace faster than failure ever could. Why? Well, because failure ends. It teaches and then it passes. But overthinking traps you in a loop that never moves. A mental cage where you replay and reanalyze and relive moments that are already gone. It's deception. You think you're solving problems, but really you're just feeding them. You think you're finding answers, but you're just postponing life. Because overthinking does not protect you, it paralyzes you. It tells you that if you just think long enough, if you just plan more, if you just rationalize a little longer, you'll feel ready. But the truth is, you'll never feel ready. You'll only feel free once you start moving. There is a storm that lives in all of us. Not outside, not in the world, but in the space between thoughts. A storm we're all familiar with, the one that whispers, what if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What if it all falls apart? And we let it walk in and speak. We listen. We think and we replay, we reanalyze, we try to predict a future that was never meant to be predicted. Overthinking is our way of reaching for control of an uncontrollable world. That's just the reality. Our attempt to rewrite outcomes before we've even taken the first lap, first step. But the more we think, the less we live. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. How can someone say that? The more we try to prepare, the less we become. Well, it's because the power is in mobility. See, life doesn't reward those who need all the answers. It rewards those who move without them. Because there's a kind of magic that exists when in motion. There's a clarity that only shows up once wheels are turning, once your feet hit the ground. Every time you've grown, every time you've changed, or found something real, it wasn't because you knew it would work, it was because you went anyway. There was a probability of failure and you stepped into that darkness, that abyss. We think we need to plan the whole staircase before we climb, but staircases are built in real time. Life only reveals them step by step. And that's not punishment, that's grace. That's the universe's way of saying, you don't need to see it all. Just trust that it'll materialize. As long as you're committed, fate will take you by the hand. You don't overcome overthinking by finding every answer. You overcome it by realizing you were never supposed to. You learn to dance with uncertainty, to find stillness in motion, to build faith in the spaces where logic can't reach. Because the truth is, you can't think your way to peace. You can only act your way there. Every great story, I talked a little bit about this on the last episode, it begins with a step into the unknown. And every hero, every creator or leader, they all face this moment where they had to stop thinking and start becoming. As it's been said, jump and grow wings on the way down. And maybe that's where you are right now. Maybe you've been circling the same idea or same conversation, waiting for that moment when everything feels certain again. But certainty is a moment that never comes, and maybe it was never supposed to. Maybe life isn't about perfect timing, it's about perfect trust. The mind is such a beautiful tool, but it can be a dangerous master. It can paint the most vivid dreams and it can build the darkest prisons. Sometimes those bars aren't steel, they are thoughts. The rational brain suggests that by dissecting everything, we're being smart. We think by playing out every single scenario, we're staying safe. But what we are really doing is hiding behind noise. The mind is so incredible at convincing us that thinking is doing. Chaos upstairs means we must be doing something, right? The rumination is progress, the preparation is movement, but in truth, none of that moves you forward. It just exhausts you in place. Running a marathon on a treadmill. Like, yeah, you feel tired, but you're standing in the same spot. I think the weight of the mind is subtle. It doesn't drop all at once, it drips. A constant trickle of what-ifs that ultimately breaks the dam open, becomes a flood of hesitation. And before long, you're no longer living, you're maintaining. You're managing anxiety instead of chasing meaning, right? But here's the paradox. The more you demand certainty, the less you get. Because again, like I alluded to, life just, it wasn't meant to be controlled. It was meant to be experienced. You can never pull the levers on all variables. Adaptability and adjustment is built into the game. So when those thoughts start racing, when you feel that tightening in your chest, that looping in your mind, pause and breathe and remember, you are not your thoughts. You can't provide what they demand of you. You are merely the awareness behind all that noise. I heard this once on a meditation app, and I never forgot it. It said, your thoughts are clouds passing through your sky, but they are not the sky itself, and they are certainly not you. Right? And every time you attach to those clouds, you forget that the sky was infinite all along. We forget that motion breaks the spell, that simplicity is a weapon, that doing one small thing, writing one line, making one call, taking one step, oh my God, that movement can silence 1,000 doubts. Why? Well, because overthinking, it loves stagnation. It feeds on it. But action starves it. Action reminds you who's in control. As much as I wish it did, the universe doesn't hand out maps, it hands out compasses. And those compasses, they don't point to guarantees, they give you a general direction. But that's the beauty. You don't need to know how it all ends. You just need to know which way feels like freedom. I always say, let the heart be the compass. Let the mind figure out the details, the technicalities, the logistics. So when your thoughts urge you to wait until perfection, when they tell you you're not ready, look back, smile, and say neither is the world, and yet it keeps spinning somehow. Because life doesn't reward the ones who got it right the first time. It rewards the ones who dare to start. So let go. Not because you stopped caring, but because you started trusting. You stopped chasing what you can't control and started moving towards what you can. You stopped begging the storm to end and instead learned how to dance in the rain. Or for those who have been listening for a while, run in the rain. You stopped asking life to be predictable and started asking yourself to be present. You stopped searching for the perfect moment and realized that this one right now was enough. You stopped waiting for permission and remembered you always had the keys. And somewhere in that quiet surrender, the noise will fade, the fear will soften, peace will return. Not as an answer, but as a feeling. Because that's the beauty of letting go. The moment you stop trying to control everything, you finally make room for everything. The right people, the right moments, the right miracles. They all begin where overthinking ends. So go. Not to figure life out, but to live it. Not to know the ending, but to write it. Line by line, heart by heart, step by step. And when the doubt comes back, because it will, remember this truth. You were never meant to know, you were meant to be. Hey gang, Eddie here. So I've been building something alongside your world within. It's called AGNS, Always Grateful, Never Satisfied. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know exactly what that's referring to. That duality of appreciating the present moment, but also not being afraid to ask the world for more, for diving fully into your potential. And I'd love for you to be a part of this journey as we build and build and build. I have a free newsletter, agnsnewsletter.com, where you'll get daily motivation, monthly challenges, as well as updates on all the exciting things we have coming around the corner. So if you're so inclined and you'd like to be part of this journey, I'd be honored for you to sign up. Link will be below. Look forward to seeing you there. Of all life's lessons, it's my relationship with what it means to suffer that's transformed my reality. Something that's learned, not unlike one's ability to read or write. An understanding that unlocks the door to fulfillment. Nietzsche says, to live is to suffer, to survive is to find meaning in the suffering. Dostoevsky says pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and deep heart. The really great men must, I think, have great sadness on earth. Helen Keller says, although the world is full of suffering, it's also full of the overcoming of it. Our problem is not that we suffer. Our problem is that we don't know how to perceive it when it inevitably arrives. We're taught that it's synonymous with a giant street sign saying wrong way. We're taught that the perfect life is free of its grasp. It's why when suffering does arrive, we're so inclined to run from it. I reference my experience as a D1 rower often, not because I stood out or even really because of my love for the sport. I reference it because it is the point in my life when I learned to suffer. When I learned what I could put my body through, my mind through, and see that like all things, discomfort simply ends, and life is different on the other side. That's why I talk about waking up to go to the gym in the morning when it's still dark in the middle of winter, the practices that made me throw up, having 3 exams, 2 papers, but thinking about a 2K test. Because part of me couldn't believe I was doing it, because up until that point in my life, I would have simply said no. That's why I reference the 3 of us walk-ons that were there senior year out of the 60 plus that showed up freshman year. We built a relationship with suffering. You understand what opens up to you when you agree to, for a moment in time, walk through those flames of hell. It's not a trick or a complex formula. It's just taking yourself to places most haven't learned to go. Not because they can't, but because they haven't learned. When you know you can push yourself far beyond what you thought possible, not only survive, but come back renewed, re-energized, a different understanding of the world. It's hard to see anything as too much or outside the realm of possibility. In my personal life, I can make difficult decisions. In my professional life, I can sit down and write when I don't want to. When I feel like I can't, I can take on projects that scare me, that take me so far outside my comfort zone, my ceilings have no choice but to become floors. You elevate yourself with each yes. Gustave Lanson says, there is no art without commitment and suffering. That is not a demon to be avoided. It's truly the beginning of everything. Jocko, he says, discipline equals freedom. Well, what is discipline? If not one's ability to accept and harness suffering, to teach yourself not to step back, but forward into it, into the chaos, into the disarray. That's where our lives are assembled. It's where we are made. And so my message is where you would once say no, dare to say yes, even if it's a footstep, a moment, one toe in the water. Teach yourself that the very discomfort you've been running away from, that most run away from, will be the reason your life transforms. Change isn't a miracle. It's a decision. Had a window seat on the plane a few days ago, and during the descent, I watched as we lowered into a thin layer of clouds, which anyone who's flown before knows creates turbulence, right? The plane starts to shake. For a brief moment, can't see anything outside the window, only white. And no matter how many times I watched this happen, and at this point, probably in the hundreds, I can't help but feel a little uneasy. Heart rate increases a little bit. It's just an uncomfortable thing. And here's the deal. Not only is a plane going through turbulence safe, a quick Google search will explain to you that no plane was ever brought down by turbulence. They were built specifically for that, to endure it. And I know that, I understand it, I believe it. I guess that, faint nervousness I feel highlights the divide between my mental capacity to understand something and, my physiological reaction to it. It shows, to put it simply, that often what's necessary will be uncomfortable. Right? Will get easier over time, but the point is there's a very real biological resistance associated with doing what's necessary. Even when we know the necessary thing is the right thing. Even when we know we're capable of enduring the journey, right? Just like that plane was built specifically to endure turbulence. Well, in your own world, so were you. And yeah, that world might shake. Yeah, you might look around and see an unknown providing no clarity or visibility, at least in the moment. But that feeling of discomfort should not be interpreted as negative, a sign to stop or turn back, as a signal that the world is too much. No, it's where you close your eyes and remind yourself how much you can handle, despite life trying to make you feel to the contrary. You were built to overcome, made to push into uncharted territory, to take your losses and uncover the hidden away value within them. Sometimes to grow, it's required that we learn not to resist that trembling, but to see it as the courage to say yes, when it would have been infinitely easier to say no. And that's what this is about. Nothing groundbreaking, no secret formulas, just the reminder we often need but don't hear enough. That during the ascents and descents of life, and there are and will be many, know that you were built for the turbulence. You can harness the chaos, you can get through to the other side. What's required is simply that you remember who you are and what you're capable of. Because again, when visibility is limited and our worlds shake, it's easy to forget. You will not lose because of the challenge. You will win despite it again and again and again. And sure, stepping up to face that adversary, you may never detach from that nervous feeling in your stomach or the shaky hands, but that's okay. That's your indicator that you're alive, that you weren't tricked into submitting to a very beatable opponent, that you didn't turn away from the things that meant the most. Remove the lifelines. Eliminate plans B, C, and D. Let the curtains close and the lights dim. See, the beginning of something new requires the ending of something current. So make life propel you into chapter 2. Let the door slam and lock behind you. Throw away the key. With the boats burned and turning back off the table, we have to make it work. We have to figure it out. Well, how, we might ask, with only these pieces, with only this circumstance, with only these resources? Well, it's funny how when walking away is no longer a possibility, so many other possibilities are born. When we're stuck between the wall and our demons, we roll up our sleeves and do that which we have been, let's face it, running from. We fight. We become proactive. We take initiative. It was always there. We just never had to. So if you can't do it on your own, make life make you. Because the bottom line is there are new horizons that await your arrival. They are always there. But they require you to make the trip. To look out over the vastness of what's before you and convince yourself that what's ahead can become your new normal. And oh, how I wish we weren't biologically preconditioned to preserve, to stay safe, to stay the same. How I wish we weren't constantly being pulled to stay right where we are. Our minds, they love it here. With the rest of the world, the change, the hope, the progress, all on the other side of that window. All outside, all foreign to us. You don't need any of that, it'll tell you. Or maybe, after you conjure up a little courage, it might compromise. It might say, fine, it's worth a try, put one foot out the door, but don't forget you can always come back to me. You can always retreat. It's warm here, safe here, it's predictable here. The mind wants you to know that when things get tough, mediocrity and comfort are always right behind you, ready to embrace you with open arms. And it's for this reason that those boats must be burned, that the door must be locked, and that chapter must be closed. The journey before you, it's going to be difficult. There's no question about that. Anything of value brings difficulty. And when faced with the adversity, the only way to defeat it is to know there is only one way, one option available to you, and that one option is forward. It's through. There is no backwards or compromise. There is no safety. Not if you want from life that which is extraordinary. Not if you want the things we covet, dream of. Whether they're interpersonal, financial, career-oriented, health-related, maybe you just know in your soul that right now ain't it. Any move to something better will present to you its obstacles. And my advice, if it's what you really want, is to have decided before you started that there is no other way. There's no negotiating with yourself. Because if you allow that door to be cracked, life will kick it open. So point the compass north and dismiss any notion that what's comfortable is more important than what's meaningful. When you're cold, nothing is more appealing than that warmth. But warmth is deception, a short-term ploy for you to forget what really matters. An illusion. See, cold subsides, but victory is forever. Knowing that you pushed forward when most wouldn't is forever. Transforming potential into strength when your knees shook is forever. So burn the boat. For no other reason that there is no way forward so long as there remains a way back. Make life make you win. And where most would look around and see evidence of defeat, You'll find again and again in the same quote-unquote evidence the tools to build ladders to new beginnings and bridges to new worlds. There's a saying that I love, that most of life's successful people were too ignorant of the odds to know their accomplishments were considered at one point impossible. And I love it because it highlights that there was never a fallback option, a concern for the statistics. There was no worry or exhausted energy on what if. Rather, it was constant building and adjusting, finding ways over, through, and around the walls that inevitably stand before us. There was no way home, so they pushed forward into their greatness. And so can you, whatever shape, form, or color greatness looks like in your eyes, whatever mountaintop appeals to you, if you want it, if you're willing to decide before you go that you will one day stand amongst the clouds, peering out at that world you deemed wasn't against you, but for you, anything is possible. Infinite means no bounds, which is, kind of an abstract comment. Forever is difficult to grasp. But I want to explain to you why, in my life, it's prevalent and something I truly need right now in terms of a deeper understanding. And I'd be willing to bet that in some capacity, a better relationship with the word forever or infinite would benefit your life as well. Let's drop into a very specific mental state. See if it rings a bell. That feeling of depletion, that feeling of being stuck or feeling lost, just total helplessness, whether it's over a long period of time or sort of temporary helplessness. Whatever the context is, right? This feeling is the product of a scarcity narrative playing in your head. Finitude. Amidst a forest of abundance, it's like staring at a tree from 1 inch away, right? All you see is that single fragment of tree bark. You don't see much. It looks pretty bleak. But then you take a step back and you go, okay, right? You see the shape of the tree, go, I get it. Take another step back, maybe 2 or 3 feet back, and you start seeing how these trees come together. You step back even further, you go, okay, I get it. All these trees comprise the forest. Maybe you continue to step back, you turn around, you see a totally different view, the landscape, the skyline, you see birds flying overhead. All that stuff that was always there, you just couldn't see it. Not from your vantage point, not that close to the tree, which is going to be, for us, metaphorical for a problem or obstacle that we are immersed in or trying to overcome. There's an idea that there's no situation that cannot be rectified, right? Or put in the positive, every situation can be resolved. There's no hole you can't climb out of. There is always more. There is always a solution. And this little tidbit, it might not mean much when you're feeling good. You have momentum, the stars feel like they're aligned for you. But I'll tell you, it can be your saving grace when you are trudging through the valleys of life, the inevitable, difficult periods. For me, it's been everything, right? It's reminded me that there is a way. I just need to find it. It reminds me that I'm capable of solving and conquering even life's greatest tasks. I just need to move into the night with conviction. I need to remember how close I am to that tree, right? And create some sort of separation there. Because look, sometimes life is complex. Sometimes it's nuanced and detailed. And then sometimes the opposite is true. Sometimes it is very simple. And one example of that is that there is always a way, and you are always capable of finding that way, of arriving that solution. Understand that, and you'll see how abundant this dance through life really is. Truth is, personally, sometimes the fear I experience, even about trivial things, just navigating life, it can hit hard. Right? I think it's a visceral reaction, like involuntary. It happens. Podcast numbers dipping, business deal falls through, maybe a riff with a family member or friend, right? My brain walks right up to that metaphorical tree, stands there and says, hey, there's nothing you can do. This is it. This is the end. You are stuck. You are lost. You are defeated. You are hopeless. You are all these things, and none of them are good. But what makes human beings special is by understanding there is more, we empower ourselves to create more. We empower ourselves to step 5 feet back, to see the forest, the view of the valley below. Don't settle in the finite. Dive into the infinity that surrounds you. I think sometimes, we become so pulled in to a specific problem or situation that it never even dawns on us to think, okay, this is life, it happens, but you don't have to stay where you start. You are not confined to where you are. Because if it's not pushing you forward, it can be altered, mitigated, transformed. It's not an if question. Your ascent is a how question. In one of my favorite ideas, it states that, many of life's greatest accomplishments were carried out by folks too ignorant to understand the odds. When you feel stuck, it's not because you are. It's because your human brain is in default mode. And it's like, no problem, override. There's a way to turn every single predicament into a strength. As Jim Rohn has famously stated, it's not the mountaintop that holds the value, it's who you become along the way to the mountaintop. And that climb consists of a multitude of these seemingly dead ends. But in recognizing their inability to hold you back, you yourself grow. You arm yourself with that knowledge. Right? And to sum up, the entire message here in its entirety, it's that in a world of infinite possibility, there is a way, right? I challenge you to find it. The same challenge I look in the mirror and present to myself when I feel stuck or helpless or hopeless. I challenge you to look at your reality in a different light until the light bulb goes off. And it's like, oh, this wasn't assigned to me. I'm choosing this. I'm creating this. And as the architect of my own world, I can recreate the story in its entirety. People just don't go around in life telling us that. It's not normal to hear, hey, buddy, you have more control than you think you do. Hey, you're accepting some things that you don't need to accept. Hey, step back 5 more feet and build again from a different angle, right? Just like all the money in the world doesn't do much good stacked up in a warehouse that's never touched or utilized, all the opportunity doesn't matter if you can't see it. If you're blinded by the tree, the downside, the limitation, none of that means anything. If your vantage point is one of confinement, infinity is always there. So step back, turn around, and walk directly into it. Use the resources to build reality, not as it is, but as you want it to be. A world on your terms.